Hello, Chiefs fans, and welcome once again to Kingdom Corner, the Week 5 edition. I'm your host, Danilo DiGiulio, aka ThunderDan88 on social media. Check me out on Facebook, gaming, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, across the board. I'm out there. Check out my content. Welcome once again to the show brought to you by RGR Football. If you're already a member, if you've already subscribed, thank you so much. If not, click the like button and smash that subscribe button. Let us know you're out there. Let us know you're watching. If you don't like the show, leave a comment and tell us what you'd like us to change, what we can work on. I'm going to cover a few things today about the Raiders week. First, an opinion piece, and then I'm going to get into some numbers because people seem to like last couple of shows where I've gotten into some stats that make people feel better about our team as a whole. What there's not to feel good about at this point, I don't understand, but winning 3 out of 4 games by double digits, the one game that was the out of the box game was the Charger game, of course, division rival. We'll talk about that a little bit. But the team's playing well across the board, including the much maligned defense. For some reason, people out there, experts, pundits, can't seem to get their head around the idea that maybe the Chiefs' defense is that good. Maybe they're just a good defense. I've seen people arguing yards and this and that. If you're not putting the points up against us, I don't care if you get 600 yards a game between the 20s. If you can't score, you can't beat Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. This week, like I said, it's Raiders week. This, however, is not your father's rivalry. All right? I've grown up in this rivalry, watching it since I started watching the NFL, almost 3 decades now. And the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Raiders, the old gray mare just ain't what she used to be on the Raiders side of the ball. Derek Carr came out and said as much this week, saying it'll be a rivalry again once they start winning some football games. Don't count on that happening anytime soon, Chiefs fans. Granted, everybody stays healthy, all things being equal. Kansas City just has a better team right now. The Raiders are working on it. I have a question with the way that they're working on it in the sense that teams in the draft went after speed at the wide receiver position. They see what Kansas City has done. They see what Kansas City is doing, and they're trying to mimic it. The problem is they don't have a Patrick Mahomes. If you don't have the trigger man that Kansas City has, it gets very difficult to do what Kansas City does. The Green Bay Packers have a number of good wide receivers. They don't have anybody with Patrick's weapons. They don't have anybody with Tyreek Hill's speed, let's say, McCole Hardman's speed, that kind of speed at the wide receiver spot. But they got a trigger man in Aaron Rodgers who was doing Patrick Mahomes type stuff before Patrick came into the league. Now, Patrick does a few things that are his own, like this. Well, we all know that. But Aaron is the closest thing to what Patrick is that I'd seen in the league before Patrick. The closest thing to Patrick that's come into the league after him, Justin Herbert of the LA Chargers, who's given teams fits. The kid's got speed. Kid's got a live arm. He likes to scramble. He's looking downfield. Once he starts to get it, folks, these two teams are going to be 2 playoff teams every year, and they're going to be slobber knocker games between the two of them. It's going to be great. Where we have the speed in Kansas City, they've got big receivers in LA. So it's an interesting dynamic, the challenges that each team faces. If you have diminutive corners going against the Chargers, you're going to have problems. Against the Chiefs, if you can't run, you're done. If you can run and you try to run with them all day, they'll pick you apart in the zones underneath with Travis Kelce and the running backs and everything else. If you only got 2 guys that can run, they'll go 5 wide with Travis and Clyde Edwards-Helaire lined up at wide receiver, and good luck. It's basically a pick your poison. How do you want to die in this game? How do you want to lose? Because it's a team that you can't really match up against. You have to do what Belichick does. Belichick leans to his strengths. We're going into Raiders week. They're down a bunch of guys. In the 70s and 80s, the Raiders used to be a major rivalry. The Raiders were a dangerous team, a dominant team. They went through the Jakes, the Snakes. They went through the Howie Long, Lyle Alzado's, the many running backs, Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen, who came to us and had a great extended career with us. Tim Brown obviously was I felt kind of wasted his years in the Raiders. It was like LaDainian Tomlinson for the Chargers. Every once in a while, there's a great player that ends up on a team that never really gets over their peak, gets to the mountaintop. Thankfully, we won't have to witness that with Patrick Mahomes. We've already achieved that, and we're going into Raiders week with a 4-0 record. The Raiders are sitting at 2-2, and I wanted to let you guys know that part of the problem is part of the thing that brought the Chiefs back to relativity in the NFL, that brought us back to competitive value in the NFL. They have a quarterback in Derek Carr who's much like an Alex Smith type quarterback. He's got maybe a liver arm than Alex, maybe a little bit. Not as quite as mobile as Alex, obviously, but he takes care of the football. But sometimes taking care of the football isn't enough. We went through that with Alex. We won a lot. We just never got the big game finished. And that was one of the things he was knocked on for. That's one of the things that the Raiders are challenged with right now. They're facing those same challenges right now. And it's going to either take a change of mindset for Derek Carr. He's going to have to just start cutting it loose. If Derek Carr can figure out this year or next what Alex seemed to figure out his last year in Kansas City, just cut it loose and trust your weapons and just, I don't know if it wasn't in there before, if you didn't trust guys enough, if you just couldn't believe what he was seeing around him as far as speed and talent. But once Alex turned that corner, his last season with Kansas City was amazing. He was in the MVP conversation the whole year. If Derek Carr turns that corner, then there'll be a genius rival for us. If not, if the Raiders somehow start to fall apart this season, look for the Raiders to tank and get into the running for the quarterback from Clemson. I'm not going to get into that name and names with because, NCAA and all that good stuff. You guys can look him up. He was playing football tonight. But I want to show you a few stats. First of all, we get into the quarterbacks. The quarterback comparison, statistically, it's pretty close. Derek Carr is 2-2, as I said. The only like competitor they've had is the Patriots. The Patriots beat the Raiders by 16 points. The Raiders lost 36-20. Okay? The Raiders wins. They won by 4 over the much improved Panthers under Teddy Bridgewater. They're doing a lot better. And against the Saints, they won by 10. Nobody saw that coming. That was great for them. However, against the Bills last week, they lost by 7. Okay? The game they lost last week to the Bills was the first game that Derek Carr threw for over 300 yards. The other 3 games, 239, 284, 261, and he's got a grand total of 1,095 yards and 8 touchdowns. Okay, that's good enough for 113.6 QBR. All right, that's not bad for the QB rating. Sorry, QB rating, not QBR. But again, that has him sitting at a 2-2 record. Now the Chiefs, on the other hand, with young Patrick, of course, are 4-0. Both quarterbacks have had games over 70% completion. Derek's done it every single game. His lowest one was 72.7% completion rating. His highest being 75, and 2 are in the 73 range. Patrick has one at 75 as well. He's got one at the 73.8 range, and the other 2 were 65.5 and 57.4 versus the Chargers, which was also a 302-yard game, 2 touchdowns. We won that game. We all saw what happened there. Crazy butt kicker, it was amazing. Last couple of weeks he's been a little iffy with the PATs. I'm not sure what's going on there, but he's got to get his head around it. We'll figure it out. But Patrick's QBR is sitting at 114.1. It's only a 0.5 difference in the QB rating. I keep saying QB rating. The QB rating. It's only a 0.5 difference. Interestingly, when apparently wins don't have that much to do with what your QBR rating or QB rating is, because I personally would put higher status on wins, and just if you do terribly, that's obviously going to detract from your number. But you shouldn't be that close when you're losing football games. But that's an NFL stats thing. Who cares? I'm not that much of a stat freak anyway. But Patrick's got 35, 40 more passing yards and 3 more touchdowns, but it's translated into 2 more wins. They're going up against each other, and I expect Derek Carr to do what Derek Carr does when he's on the road in Kansas City. Neither quarterback at this point has thrown an interception. Count on that happening tomorrow. Count on Derek Carr being good for 1, maybe 2, maybe more. Usually 2 turnovers, maybe 3, 2 interceptions and a fumble possibly. And look for our defense to sack him 3 or 4 times and hurry him and harry him all day long. And that's the thing. You hit Derek a couple of times and take the ball away once, and it's just he's off of his game, and the game kind of goes off the rails and it stops being competitive. As we saw last year with the last home game against the Chiefs for them at Oakland Alameda Coliseum, fans were probably very excited, getting up by 10-0 in the first quarter, only to see that just get destroyed in the second quarter when Patrick threw 4 touchdowns in a single quarter and took the lead 20-10, and then our defense just sat on them the rest of the game. Granted, we didn't score again either, partly due to their defense, but a lot because Andy and Eric dialed it back. There was no need to press when you're up 18 points. Kansas City, on the other hand, compared to the Raiders this year, we took it down. They have, as I said, 3 wins by double digits. They've won 2 games by 14, 34-20 in both of those games against the Ravens and the Texans. The Ravens are one of the best teams in the league, defense and offense, and Kansas City dusted them. They dusted the Texans week 1. We'll see how the Texans season goes from here forward now that Bill O'Brien has been fired. I wish Bill all the best in his next job. I'm sure he'll get hired again soon. He's a good football man, and he's well liked around the league. Just wasn't fit. It wasn't working out. For whatever reason, that just got rusty. I think it just got old. He's got a winning record. He's taken them to division champions a number of times in their AFC South, but just sometimes coaches just lose teams, and it felt like that's what happened from everything we hear. I don't know personally, just going by what we see in the news. The one game I said was against the Chargers. They only won by 3. Against the Raiders, I expect them to press them. I expect them to put the pressure on them the way they did to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I think the Chiefs are going to come out firing. I think Patrick's going to have 427 yards right now and 4 touchdown passes, and he might run for one too. I'm not sure. We'll see if the situation arises. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to have a good game, and I think Travis Kelce is going to go off. I don't think it's going to be the big aerial show we saw in the first matchup last year at Oakland Alameda, where it was more the wide receivers. I think they're going to have a good day, but I think Travis and Clyde are going to get involved in the passing game a lot. I'm not sure about the rush game with Clyde, just because Oakland usually plays us pretty hard against the run. We'll see how it goes tomorrow, but passing yards are going to be there plenty. They don't have the horses on a good day to run with our wide receivers. They're not going to have them tomorrow. As I said, this is not your father's AFC, old AFL, Chiefs versus Raiders, Lenny the Cool getting punched by Raiders defensive linemen rivalry. It's just not. The Chiefs have dominated this for a long time. They won 12 of the last 14, 11 of the last 12. And the one loss that they did have was the infamous goal line. How many times can we call a penalty against the Chiefs to give the Raiders a first down? And how many untimed downs can we give until they finally push off on poor Terrence Mitchell. Terrence Newman's a Cowboy. Terrence Mitchell, who ended up with the Browns after that. Terrence Mitchell played his butt off that year, and he kept getting knocked by people. He had better numbers that year than Marcus Peters. Go look it up. I'm not going to give it to you. You're going to go find it yourself. But I heard people dogging that kid, and I was like, the kid's hustling. He's working hard. He's just not getting the calls because he's not a big name DB. But he looked like he was Forgetful Jones sometimes. Not as bad as some of the other corners we had, but in that game, he got shoved to the ground by Amari Cooper on the way up the sideline. No flag, and he got pushed off for a comeback route in the corner of the end zone. After the refs had been throwing flags aplenty, they decided not to flag that play to benefit the Chiefs and march the Raiders back 5 yards, or 15 yards rather. That would have changed the game because the Raiders won by 1, 31-30. Everybody remembers that. I was in my car losing my mind, about to go have dinner with my agent, and I could not believe what I was hearing. I had to turn it off before the end of the game because I'm like, I know where this is going. I know where it's going because it's happened before. They're doing it to us again. Guess what's happening tomorrow? Not that. Tomorrow's going to be a win. It's going to be a blowout. The Kansas City Chiefs are on the road to victory this year. They're on the way to running it back. They're going for back-to-back. It hasn't been done in 15-ish years since the boys we beat last week did it. The team that will go unnamed. But look forward to a really entertaining game tomorrow, folks. Hope you're enjoying our content here on RGR Football. Hope you're enjoying the Kingdom Corner. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see different. If you'd like to see more stats, less stats. If you want to see if I can get some all 22 going, as long as I don't use any network stuff, I believe we're fine to throw that footage up once in a while. But I love this team. I love the way it's all come together the last few years, and I love the road that they're on right now. I just pray that they stay healthy, everything stays clean, and this incident, we're not going to bring up the C word. We know what that C word is. It's not that other C word. It's the virus-y. Yeah, there it is. See, I hope that does not derail the season in any way, shape, or form any more than it already has, and they flex the schedule. Go into tomorrow knowing that if everything stays the way it is right now, it looks like we're going to be playing 3 games in 11 days because we've got the Bills on Thursday night. Actually, no. If it stays the way it is right now, they might push the Bills game to Tuesday, in which case they're obviously not going to play Thursday, so we'd get those extra days off. I kind of almost hope that everybody's okay on the Titans, but that the game gets pushed just for the good and the health of the teams. I think that's the smart thing to do. I don't know why the NFL hasn't done that already, but we'll find out. They may have done this as of this airing. I'm not sure, but sure enough, let me know in the messages. I'll get the call and messages, and I'll be able to respond back to you guys. And I will try to respond anytime somebody messages me directly. Again, thank you for coming up for Kingdom Corner. Hope you're enjoying the show. Smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, let us know you're out there. Let us know you like the content we're delivering, and we're going to keep it up. Meanwhile, enjoy Week 5. Go Chiefs.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.